back in the good old U.S. of A. after a fantastic Operation Overlord trip to London, Normandy, and Paris with a fantastic group of listeners, courtesy of our great friends at Cruisin' Tour. I am Dan O'Donnell, and I know we've got a lot to catch up on, but today is going to be quite possibly the most pivotal day in the presidential election here in Wisconsin. Why? Because the fate of the state of Wisconsin and how its electoral votes go, and very possibly how the country's electoral vote goes, will be decided, or at least contemplated, and we will explain in just a second. But first, I was on vacation, and you can be too in just a couple of weeks. If you are the winner in the iHeartRadio Music Festival Flyaway Contest, the word this hour is Vegas. That's Vegas, V-E-G-A-S. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website, or rather text the word Vegas to 200-200. Text the word Vegas to 200-200, and you get round-trip airfare for two to the iHeartRadio Music Festival, September 20th and 21st. 2 nights hotel stay, ground transportation, tickets to both nights of the festival, plus $1,000 that you can spend anywhere on refreshments at the craps table. We don't care. We're giving you $1,000 in addition to a trip to the best concert of the year and to fabulous Las Vegas. If you do enter this contest, you will get a confirmation text and information. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. If you would like to join the show, the AdventNews.com talk and text line 414-799-1130. Reach us toll free 1-800-838-9476. My email, dod@iheartmedia.com. Watch our show streaming live via the Dan O'Cam on X at Dan O'Donnell Show there, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well, or on our YouTube channel, just search Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show. Back in February, the Wisconsin Elections Commission unanimously approved the Green Party for inclusion on the state's ballot. The rules for inclusion on the ballot for a minor party are relatively simple. If said party for any statewide race wins 1% of the vote or more in the previous statewide election, they're on. Cheryl McFarland, the Green Party candidate for Secretary of State, got approximately 1.6% of the vote. The Wisconsin Elections Commission said, okay, pretty simple. Green Party presidential candidate Jill Stein is on the ballot for the presidential race in 2024. Not so fast. Democrats not acting weird on this, but strange, as in David Strange, a Democrat Party activist, filed a complaint arguing that the Green Party can't actually nominate presidential electors in Wisconsin. Remember, in nationwide elections, in the one nationwide election that we have for president, you don't actually vote for president. A lot of people mistake this. A, we technically don't have one national election. We have 51 state elections. The 51st being Washington, D.C., which has 3 electoral votes. You actually vote for your party's electors, who then meet in the Electoral College, usually in the state capitol, and cast their ballots. Now, Democrats, the party of democracy, have been trying their darndest to eliminate the Electoral College. They don't like the idea that they can't just win a total majority of all national votes and sweep into office every 4 years. In fact, the founders set up the Electoral College specifically to avoid that exact scenario. It kind of blows people's minds when I tell them that the framers of the Constitution actually abhorred democracy, at least straight democracy. So we modified democracy. They understood the power and the problem of the tyranny of the majority, that just getting a simple majority, in fact, Ben Franklin wrote about this extensively, that if you just have majority rule, you have all sorts of problems. And they recognized back then that the Electoral College was needed. Otherwise, the biggest populous states, New York, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, they would just run roughshod over the smaller states. And they even included what Democrats today, and really for the past 150 years or so, have been misinterpreting as the most racist part of the way our country was set up, the so-called 3/5 compromise. That was actually a way to abolish slavery. Counting slaves for the portion or for the purposes of apportionment of electoral votes and congressional representatives, counting them as only 3/5 of a person meant that the South couldn't dominate the North by sheer volume, by the sheer number of people that they had, because they didn't just have citizens, they had slaves. They had people who were not considered people but could still be counted for the purposes of getting electoral votes. The founders compromised and said, okay, you can count slaves as 3/5 of a person. The idea being, all the abolitionists in the North said, we're never going to abolish slavery if the South can just dominate. We'll never be able to get to a position where we can vote out slavery in the United States. But the idea behind this, behind the Electoral College, was that you couldn't have today the most populous states, California, New York, Texas, Florida, Illinois, just decide the fate of the rest of the country. In fact, do you know President Trump lost the lost the popular vote, split the Electoral College in 2016 and 2020, won it in 2016, and thus the presidency, lost it in 2020. The entire majority, the entire amount of votes that Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton both defeated Trump by was basically down to two states, New York and California. That the entire difference in the popular vote totals were the votes for Democrats in California and New York. In other words, if we abandoned the Electoral College, New York and California would be deciding the presidency every single year. It wouldn't be states like Wisconsin or Pennsylvania or Arizona, the states where you would have to campaign. In fact, presidential campaigns, if you abolish the Electoral College, would look completely different. Why would you ever leave California? Basically, if you win California, you're going to win the presidency, or at least you're coming pretty darn close. So campaigning would be done in 4 states: California, New York, Texas, Florida. End of list. So we vote for electors. And Strange, in his strange suit that is going to be before the Wisconsin Supreme Court today, says the Green Party can't nominate electors because no one in the party is a state officer. Now, this has never before been argued. You might remember the Green Party was on the ballot in 2016, and a lot of people, before the insane conspiracy theory about Trump being a Manchurian candidate for Russia and Russia hacking into Americans' very minds through some sort of mass hypnosis or whatever it was, before they were delving into fantasy, they understood that the presence of the Green Party in 2016 in Wisconsin probably tipped the entire election for Trump. Trump won Wisconsin by just about 20,000 votes. The Green Party, almost all of whose voters are liberal Democrats who don't think the Democrat Party is far enough to the left, which is actually kind of insane if you think about it, their votes totaled 33,000 votes. Is it really that far-fetched to think that 20-some thousand would-be Hillary voters actually voted for the Green Party because they didn't really like Hillary and they wanted another left-wing candidate to vote for? Obviously, that was the case. The Democrats realized this because in 2020, they challenged the then candidate Howie Hawkins' placement on the ballot, not on this theory that the Green Party doesn't have any state officers, which are defined as legislators, judges, basically if you have an elected or appointed position, you can serve as an elector. They didn't challenge it on this constitutional basis. This actually would probably knock off every single third party or independent candidate in perpetuity from the ballot in Wisconsin. We have a two-party system in this country. The two parties, Democrats and Republicans, dominate. I can't think of a state where the Green Party or the Constitution Party or the Libertarian Party actually does have state officers. Essentially, Wisconsin law is quiet on this, but what it does say is the requisite for a party to get on the ballot is you get 1% in the previous election. That's it. So it wasn't argued in 2020 that Howie Hawkins should be off the ballot because he fails this basic constitutional and legal litmus test. Oh, no, 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 no. They attacked the nominating signatures of his running mate, Angela Walker, who just happened to be from Milwaukee. Well, during the course of the race, she moved. She moved from one address in Milwaukee to another. The challenge, if you can believe this, which the Wisconsin Elections Commission actually bought, it was deadlocked, so Hawkins was booted off the ballot, was that her nominating signatures were not accurate. Right? The petition was not accurate because it listed her wrong address. Well, excuse me. As somebody who is currently in the process of moving, building a house, and will have 3 addresses in 1 calendar year, we're living at an undisclosed safe house right now. We're living with our in-laws, okay, who were very surprisingly happy to see us back. We got off the little transport that Cruise and Tour arranged for us, and Grammy and Grampy were out in the driveway. Oh my gosh, you're home. We're so happy to see. We would have thought that it would have been a vacation for them as well, having 4 of the 5 O'Donnells gone for the week. Do you know who wasn't? We left our nearly 17-year-old son behind because of soccer, because his soccer season started as a high school varsity soccer. You got to be there. And he's like, Dad, I stay home? He's sitting on the couch with his buddy. Grammy and Grammy go, oh my gosh, guys, it's good to see you. Nick is back there like, sup? Hey, welcome back. It's good to see you. No, he was very happy to see us. He claimed he was in I'm assuming, a very deep Snapchat conversation with a girlfriend or something like that. But as somebody who has moved during the course of an election, I can tell you it's a pain in the butt. You got to change your address with every single thing you subscribe to. I'm fairly certain because my address is changed. My debit card didn't work for a little. It's a pain, right? Democrats filed this challenge to the Green Party's candidacy because of Angela Walker's address change, which was clearly, this is not an attempt to promote fraudulent nominating signatures. She moved. And the Green Party said, look, she moved. Nope. Green Party's off the ballot. What do you suppose happened in Wisconsin in 2020? You can very clearly make the argument that this cost Trump the White House. Those 20,000 votes, which probably went to the Green Party over Hillary Clinton in 2016, came back home to Joe Biden because the Green Party wasn't an option for those voters to check the ballot for. Trump lost Wisconsin by about 20,000 votes. As I have said, it blows people's minds every single time I say this. In fact, there were a number of listeners who were on the trip last week, and I gave an hour-long Q&A session / hey, what you missed, what's going on back home, the DNC and all of that. People, their minds were blown. They have not heard me say this. And I feel like I'm a broken record saying that Trump did not win, or he did not lose 2020 by 7 million votes in the popular vote. He lost 2020 by 45,000 votes spread across Wisconsin, Arizona, and Georgia. There were an additional 80-some thousand in Pennsylvania. The margins are incredibly tight. So around those margins, you'd better believe Democrats understand the importance of keeping the Green Party off the ballot. The complaint that is getting oral arguments today in the Wisconsin Supreme Court says because the Wisconsin Green Party has no affiliated individuals who are eligible under Wisconsin law to nominate presidential electors for the Wisconsin Green Party, the party cannot, as a matter of law, field a candidate for president for which electors in each county may vote. This is insanity. This was never even contemplated before because Wisconsin's requirements for ballot access are pretty clear. It is true, Wisconsin law says, okay, you've got to have this, but it just doesn't contemplate the existence of third-party candidates, primarily because at the time of Wisconsin's founding, it was already pretty clear we had 2 or 3 major political parties, and you didn't have the contemplation that a minor party could win. Now, the Constitution Party, the Libertarian Party, the Green Party, there are a number of other minor parties, have since risen in significance. Now, none have ever really seriously challenged for a statewide election win, or a presidential election win, but they have always been allowed on the ballot because it was always just presumed, okay, a state leader, a qualified elector can be a representative of that party. Does an elector have to be the governor? No. Does an elector have to be a state assemblyman? No. The party gets to choose who its electors are. This ambiguity in the law actually does conflict with the very clear letter of the law that is the 1% threshold. You get 1% in the previous statewide election, you get to be on the ballot, end of story. 1.6% for the Secretary of State candidate, Cheryl McFarland. That's it. You would think so. But no. And you won't believe the lengths to which the libs on the Wisconsin Supreme Court are trying to stack the deck against the Green Party and keep them off the ballot. We will get to that coming up next. It is so good to be back here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter at Dan O'Donnell Show.
More of the show next.
Next Tuesday, you'll go to your business. You'll stand there in your office and make decisions. I think when you make decisions, it might be well for you to ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for your business to buy things you need to increase profitability than it was 4 years ago? Does your business have more or less unemployment? Is your business as respected as it was? Do you feel your business is on as secure financial grounds as it was 4 years ago? And if you answer all those questions, yes, why then, I think your choice is very obvious as to who handles your brand and marketing. If you don't think the marketing course is what you would like to see your business follow for the next 4, then I could suggest another choice that you have.
And it is improving the economy one business at a time. CreativeGeniusMarketing.com, INetDishWeb.com.
On August 30th, Reagan returns to office.
We are the greatest country in the world. We have just forgotten it.
You can run from a bully for so long, but after a while, you're going to have to stand up to him. I am about to start the biggest war of this century.
You told me you wanted to make a difference in this world.
What would you have me do?
I want you to fight!
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Reagan in theaters Friday, August 30th. Rated PG-13. May not be suitable for children under 13.
Everything must go while supplies last. Take advantage of huge discounts during our end of summer clearance. Thielman Group, Southeast Wisconsin's premier heating and cooling dealer, has 3 warehouses full of equipment that needs to be sold to make room. Whether you're in West Bend, Oconomowoc, Racine, or anywhere in between, we've got you covered. This offer is while supplies last, so when they're gone, they're gone. Call us today at 262-288-4654 or visit our website at thielmangroup.com. That's Thielman with 2 N's, group.com.
Progressive presents 10 things on a contractor's to-do list that are harder than getting a commercial auto insurance quote. Bidding a new client, giving an accurate estimate, finding affordable materials, getting a client to pay you for work you already did, getting a client to pay you, period, securing permits and workers and tools, getting those workers and tools to work together, and finding the perfect pair of overalls. Pockets, baby. But the easiest thing on a small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you can save on commercial auto insurance. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Are you looking for a restaurant where you can get breakfast any time of day? Look no more, because the Sawmill Restaurant and Pub in Richfield is the answer. Just take Highway 41 to the Holy Hill exit, turn west, and then take a right at Wolf Road, just over the railroad tracks. You'll see the Sawmill just around the bend on your left.
Folks buy a Bellman home and then say they grow out of it, and they end up building another Bellman home, or generations of families that have bought Bellman homes. Things like that let us know we're doing it right.
Bellman Homes.
Here's why money Warshevsky.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style, here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. The Wisconsin Green Party is in a fight once again, second straight presidential election cycle, to be on the ballot here in the state. And for the second straight cycle, the party that is doing its best to defend democracy from tyrants or would-be tyrants is trying to disenfranchise roughly 33 to 35,000 Green Party voters through a potentially unlawful interpretation of Wisconsin's statute governing ballot access as it pertains to presidential elections. Look, folks, I understand. This isn't the most red meat of topics. A little esoteric. It's a little into the weeds, and I actually sort of debated whether or not I wanted to come back after a week's absence and dive right into the minutia of how to get on the ballot in Wisconsin. But this is the sort of nerdiness you expect from the Dan O'Donnell Show. So I am honored to bring it to you the best I can. But this is the most important battle, as I've been saying for several months. You've got to watch August. August is when it is going to go down. Democrats are going to try to challenge the ballot access of Cornel West, of Jill Stein, of Bobby Kennedy Jr. That sort of took care of itself on Friday. Yes, we are going to get into that. I actually addressed that a little bit on Friday when we did sort of a head fake here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. I came back in the 10 o'clock hour live from the streets of Paris, right in front of the Notre Dame Cathedral, which, by the way, will open up after 5 years. In December. It's been closed because of that massive fire in 2019. In any event, Democrats are now trying to essentially block democracy. Democracy is everyone, so long as they meet clearly defined legal standards, gets to be on the ballot. Democracy is not just, okay, everybody gets to vote. Everybody has a chance to run for office, provided they get the requisite nominating signatures, provided parties meet specific threshold goals. Because if everybody could just be on the ballot, you would have a ballot that would be as long as Santa's list, for goodness sakes, and naughty or nice political parties would be on regardless of whether or not they meet the basic threshold of popularity amongst voters to do so. Not only is the Wisconsin Supreme Court essentially trying to decide for voters the fate of this state, I firmly do believe that without RFK Jr. on the ballot in Wisconsin, and watch, you're going to have a petition from David Strange to, even though RFK is trying to get off the ballot, David Strange is going to file another Strange complaint saying, no, RFK has got to stay on. But his argument, obviously, is that no third-party candidate, no new political party could ever be on the ballot. Now, imagine this. Just a couple of years after Wisconsin's formation in 1848, after it was allowed into the Union as a state, there is a new upstart political party that was founded in Wisconsin, believe it or not, in a little white schoolhouse. It was called the Republican Party. Under the Democrats' current interpretation of state statutes, the Republican Party would not be eligible for the ballot because it didn't have, when it was formed, any statewide officers. Does this make any sense to anyone? Of course, the party's very first presidential candidate, Abraham Lincoln, won. And Democrats back then in the election of 1860 behaved much like Democrats today. They seceded from the Union. The only difference was back then, they actually could. South Carolina, boom, peace out, we're gone. These Republicans are trying to take away our slaves. Democrats were not going. Democrats fought harder than any party, any group of people in the history of the world to own other human beings. It was actually kind of remarkable. But under this interpretation of Wisconsin statute, the Republican Party could never have been formed. You see how ridiculous this is. The Whig Party fell, the Know-Nothings, and the Jeffersonian Democrats, the Democratic Republicans, the party sort of changed and morphed into the two that we have today, the Republicans and the Democrats. There's nothing to say that, let's say, Trump and Kennedy, they sort of form this movement. It's this neo-populist conservative movement that has moved away from the neoconservative values of the past generation. And there's a new party, let's call it the Freedom Party. Would they not be allowed to be on the ballot? Freedom Party would clearly, and remember, one of the big fears in 2015 and early 2016 in the Republican primary process was that if Republicans tried to deny Trump the nomination, he was going to go off and join his own third party. Let's say, just for the sake of arguments, 2016 goes the other way. Ted Cruz wins Wisconsin, and he mounts a furious comeback in the final few nominating states, and he wins the Republican presidential nomination. Trump is so ticked off. He takes all of the voters that he has amassed, all of the support, and founds the Freedom Party. Is there any chance in you-know-what that David Strange and the Democrats would try to keep Donald Trump and the Freedom Party off the ballot? No, because it would be a guaranteed win for Hillary Clinton. He would have split the Republican vote, and that's why Republicans were treading so lightly with Trump early on when they didn't realize what a great conservative he actually was and the incredible new direction, this broadening of the Republican Party and conservative movement that Trump represented, the Make America Great Again or MAGA movement represented. They treaded so lightly because that was the big fear. Now, what did Democrats do to RFK? All RFK Jr. wanted to do was run as a Democrat. His father was a Democrat. His uncle was a Democrat. Everybody is there a name more synonymous with the Democrat Party than Kennedy? What did the Democrats say? No, we are not going to have an open primary system. You cannot run as a Democrat. Joe Biden is our candidate. Party of Democracy has spoken. There will be no democracy in this primary. And then, of course, after everybody votes for Joe Biden, they remove him from the ballot and all of a sudden say, oh, yes, Kamala is our candidate. In fact, we've got a hilarious soundbite of Gavin Newsom and the Pod Save America bros at the DNC last week joking about, oh, yeah, it was a totally bottom-up process. Yes, it was totally transparent. Joke's on us, as Bobby Kennedy tweeted yesterday, because nobody gets a say in Kamala Harris. 2 straight election cycles, Kamala never got a vote. Democrats are again terrified that she's not going to be able to earn votes in Wisconsin. In fact, David Plouffe, one of Kamala's senior advisors, brought onto the campaign, he was one of Obama's chief political advisors, talked with Upfront. And Matt Smith of Upfront asked him how important Wisconsin is. He said something very interesting. I want you to listen very, very closely to what he says about Wisconsin.
You know, unless Donald Trump really closes poorly, I still think Kamala Harris has some upside. That's, even greater than where we see the race today. But at the end of the day, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada, North Carolina, Georgia, they're all going to be super close. And so Wisconsin was tight as a tick in 2016. It was in 2020. We expect a similar race, and so we're building a campaign to win that kind of election.
Can she win the White House without winning Wisconsin?
Sure she can, but it's very hard. I mean, I think Wisconsin and Michigan are 2 states you definitely want to go blue. You want to add Pennsylvania to that in the 2nd congressional district, then you're there.
Unless Trump closes very poorly, they anticipate Trump is going to close strong. It always happens. I've talked all month about Democrat response bias in polls in August. It always happens this way. I would argue there's a little bit of push polling going on in the media's polls designed to create the bandwagon effect, the idea that Democrats are just unstoppable, that they're going to win, join or vote for the loser. The option is yours. But the Wisconsin Supreme Court apparently recognizes, as Plouffe does, the presence of the Green Party in the absence of RFK Jr. on the ballot, the damage that could potentially do to this incredibly close state. So the Wisconsin Supreme Court did its level best to try to stack the deck against the Green Party. They accepted the Strange case from Mr. Strange on Thursday. Green Party didn't have any attorneys. It wasn't prepared for any of this. Guess the deadline to respond to the Democrats' motion. It started Thursday. Dave says today, 5 p.m. Friday. They had about 24 hours to write a brief, to file a response, to first hire some attorneys. In fact, Annette Ziegler, the Chief Justice, in her dissent to the idea that the court should take this ridiculous case, says, to my knowledge, at no time in history has the court issued such orders before parties had made their appearances or retained lawyers. While WEC has the Department of Justice for counsel, nothing in the record suggests the Wisconsin Green Party has even retained counsel yet. In fact, the chairman of the Wisconsin Green Party said, quote, we do not have counsel. We have not had the opportunity to obtain counsel, he said in an interview with the Wisconsin Examiner. This is an effort to silence dissenting voices in swing states. We will fight to the best of our ability to the position of the Wisconsin Green Party that all voices should be heard and all votes should be counted. So, Johnny on the spot, yet again, the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty took it up, wrote a motion insanely quickly, and are going to represent the Green Party. They're taking up this case, not because, oh my goodness, we need to protect Donald Trump and the Republicans, but my goodness, the rights of the Wisconsin Green, you have a right to counsel. This is an absolute thing. If you are sued, if you are criminally charged, you have the right to retain counsel. The Wisconsin Supreme Court is essentially, nah, not really. Got to respond to us. And I would love to see your average Green Party official write a response without retaining an attorney. Yeah, man, like it's totally bogus that we shouldn't be on this ballot, man. Quit harshing our mellow. More on this, more audio sound bites as well when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
The next generation is here. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Dan O'Donnell here for the incredible team at Mander Collision and Glass, now with 6 locations to serve you. And you hear me talk about my great experiences with Mander all the time. Here's David. I had a chip in my windshield of my 2009 Chevy Malibu repaired today. Scheduling was a breeze. Staff was great. I was in and out in under half an hour. That's the Mander difference for you. Quick, professional work with customer service that's second to none. They treat you as a valued member of the family and not just a number like some of the big national chains. It's service that you can only get with a third-generation family business, and that's why I've been using Mander Collision and Glass for so many years, and so many listeners are now discovering and have discovered the Mander difference too. You can check them out at any one of their great locations, Cedarburg, Brookfield, Heartland, Milwaukee, Muskego, or Waukesha, and start your repair today at mandercollision.com. Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell. You hear the word local tossed around in a lot of commercials. What does the word local mean? When you choose my friends at Bayview Shade and Blind for your window treatment project, it means they're involved with you from beginning to end, starting with a free in-home design consultation to expert measurement and installation. You just can't get that kind of service from a big box store or online. With galleries in Menominee Falls and Waukesha, BayviewShade.com, sharing a little sunshine from their family to yours.
They used water to restore your wood? No wonder you need us. Well, don't worry. This time we'll do it right. You see, water raises the grain of wood, warps it, and opens splits and glue joints. It's the enemy of finished furniture. And that's why we only remove your finish chemically. It's not the cheap way, but it is the best way. For the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If you have a great piece and want to see if it's worth restoring, of course we can send someone out there. And no, we won't charge for the visit. We've been doing that for almost 50 years, along with pickups and deliveries, to get the beautiful piece that we restore back in your home safe and sound. And we'll guarantee your satisfaction to boot. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab-overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services, and I'm so proud to be a father, a husband, an entrepreneur, a Christian, and an American. My wife Amy and I did our best to educate our children about our reasons for embracing traditional values. Recently, Amy and I became empty nesters, and now our young adults are in the real world with the American dream in their heads, their hearts, and soon it will be in their hands to share with others. God is good. Marriage and children are a blessing. Capitalism works, and America is grand. She is rich with beautiful places to explore. She's a melting pot of beautiful people. Diverse? Yes. But we are still blessed to have so much in common. Ignore the politicians and the media who sow seeds of hate. Let's embrace the wonders of life, liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness in America. Join me in discovering the wonders of nature and the wonders of America.
If you're a proud American, that means if someone comes after your family, you gotta be ready. That's why you need the Mega 3-Month Emergency Food Kit from My Patriot Supply. Their Mega 3-Month Emergency Food Kit comes jam-packed with 33 varieties of filling and flavorful meals. Not only does that include creamy chicken-flavored rice, old-fashioned Italian spaghetti, and savory cheesy broccoli soup, but you'll also get a bonus protein kit with diced beef, flavorful chicken chunks, and 3 varieties of beans. The Emergency Food Kit provides a whopping 2,500 calories per day to keep you well fed and ready for anything. It's your solemn duty as an American to protect your family without waiting for handouts. And that starts with emergency food that you can depend on. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now to save $300 on your Mega 3-Month Emergency Food Kit. My Patriot Supply offers free shipping too. Get your Mega 3-Month Emergency Food Kit now at MyPatriotSupply.com.
We need your help to protect your right to AM radio in your car. AM is always there in times of need with the key information for our community. The overwhelming majority of legislators support a bill to keep AM radio in cars, but time's running out. Please text the 2 letters AM to 52886 and ask Congress to bring this bill to the floor for a vote now.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month. Text stop to stop, a message from the station.
Asteroids Galaxy Tour with their song The Golden Age in the Dan O'Donnell Show bumper music rotation. It's talk radio done a little different, from the bumper music to the host to the presentation to, well, everything. Just back from an incredible trip, Operation Overlord with Cruisin' Tour, and You know what, honestly, I kept taking away just hearing story after story after story of the incredible heroism of the boys. And when I say boys, I mean literally 18, 19, 20-year-olds who quite literally saved the free world. I kept coming back to how disgusting it was that Tim Walz has essentially lied about stolen valor. It really, I didn't serve, so I know intellectually how bad and disgusting stolen valor is. But hearing these men's stories and understanding what they did in the fight for the world's survival, it really brought it home on a personal level. Just how disgusting Tim Walz has been for lying about deploying overseas and using that to advance his political career. I mean, the whole concept of stolen valor is, who cares if you're just sort of lying about serving to lie about serving? It makes you a bad human being. It makes you a piece of crap. But if you lie about serving to get some tangible benefit, to basically steal the valor of others who did serve, and he did get a tangible benefit. He was using it to get elected to Congress and then to the governorship of Minnesota, and now he's trying to use it to get elected vice president of the United States. It over and over again. Every time I was just kind of coming back to, man, just imagine somebody pretending. Like, how many people in Wisconsin lie about being at the Ice Bowl? Just imagine if people were lying about being, it's just not something that was done. Ugh. All right, so we will get into a little bit of that coming up. But the most important thing today, I am telling you, just as the fate of the free world was decided on June 6th, 1944, with the most incredible military action potentially in the history of the world, the fate of Wisconsin and potentially the presidential election is being decided right now in the Wisconsin Supreme Court. The Wisconsin Supreme Court is greasing the skids to deny ballot access to the Green Party, and they are doing so about as openly as possible. They take the case on Thursday. They say you got until 5 p.m. to hire an attorney. When has this ever happened? When has this ever happened? Never, right? Never. Just unbelievable. Well, it would be if it wasn't totally and completely in line with what the Wisconsin Supreme Court, under its relatively new liberal majority, has been. They gerrymandered congressional districts. They gerrymandered assembly and Senate districts. And now they're trying to not gerrymander, but decide whether or not is there any reason to doubt that Wisconsin will not be decided by 20,000 votes again? 4 of the last 6, the only elections in Wisconsin that were not tight this century were the 2 Obama elections. Obama was very, very popular in Wisconsin. He won pretty handily. Do you realize George W. Bush only lost Wisconsin by 5,800? It was remarkably, stunningly tight in 2004. Bush almost won Wisconsin. 20,000 votes in 2016 and 2020. 33,000 votes for the Green Party. Everyone involved understands what's at stake here. And the Wisconsin Supreme Court, just like the Wisconsin Elections Commission, populated by Democrats, the party of democracy, are again trying to put their thumbs on the scales of democracy. We name the unhinged liberal of the day coming up in just a second here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
It's not hype to underscore the obvious. The 2024 election cycle is critical to the future of our country and to the American experiment itself. At News Talk 1130 WISN, we're committed to cover everything that impacts this election and to do so with clarity, coherence, and unapologetic candor. It's up to the voters to support freedom and liberty, and it's up to us to provide them with information and perspective. For complete coverage of Decision 2024, trust us. News Talk 1130 WISN. app.
What will medicine look like 10 years from now, 20 years from now? And who is going to lead us there? I'm Dr. Amir Ghaffari, Professor of Surgery and President and CEO of the Physician Enterprise at the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network. New knowledge, never settling. That's what will get us there. Because as one of the few academic health systems in the nation, we push further and train the next generation of experts. Beyond our acclaimed medical care, our research keeps advancing the field, leading to breakthrough treatments and providing the foundation for the innovations of tomorrow. You have access to all of that right here. If you have heart disease, if you have a loved one dealing with cancer, if you're just trying to keep your family healthy, this level of care is invaluable. Through the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, we are pushing ahead, giving our patients and our community the best of what academic medicine can offer, today and tomorrow.
Our southern border is wide open, allowing drugs, gangs, and criminals to flood into our communities. We need to get tough. But Senator Tammy Baldwin supported amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants, including convicted criminals. Like an illegal immigrant with multiple DUI charges, he should have been deported. Instead, he stayed and drove drunk yet again and killed a Wisconsin father of 3. And Baldwin voted 9 times to support sanctuary cities that protect dangerous illegal immigrant criminals and release them back onto the streets. Call Senator Tammy Baldwin, 608-264-5338. Urge her to support S-4689, the Justice for Jocelyn Act. No amnesty for illegal immigrants, especially criminals. Vote to finally secure the border. Paid for by One Nation, www.onenationamerica.org.
Our home sure feels empty now that the kids are gone. Maybe it's time to start thinking about a new home in a size that fits our life. With Belinsky Condos, we'll get peace of mind without sacrificing amenities. Plus, accessibility features like the no-step garage entry and wide hallways allow us to live comfortably, today and 10 years from now. Visit Belinsky.com to learn more.
Your current car? Soon to be your old car. A new car? Better start looking. But you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with free credit score for Choice and Platinum Choice checking customers. Because when you know you need to make a big purchase, knowing your credit score puts you in the driver's seat. You've got this with free credit score from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
The golden goose of real estate died on August 17th. Bob Tarantino from Redefined Realty. As a seller, your upfront commitment to pay a buyer's agent is gone. The smart sellers are going to negotiate it in the offer to purchase. What does this mean for you? Simple. You're going to save money as a seller, but you have to know where to start. Contact a Redefined Realty agent for the best commission plan anywhere. It's all negotiable. Just call and find out at 262-732-5800 or redefinedrealty.com.
Zero Foxtrot isn't just a brand, it's a way of life. Founded and operated by veterans, Zero Foxtrot's unique apparel and gear echoes the grit of the warrior culture. Zero Foxtrot dedicates itself to producing content, honoring the sacrifices of forgotten heroes of the past, and connecting history to the present. Embark on a journey with Zero Foxtrot today at zerofoxtrot.com. It's not merely our products, it's about the ethos that we embody. Rugged, resilient, and timeless.
Looking to upgrade your bathroom? Check out Bathfitter. One-day installation, no demolition, no mess, and they're celebrating 40 years in business this year. Call 262-395-4925 to make your appointment with Bathfitter today.
Don't miss our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival presented by Capital One.
Las Vegas, are you having a good time?
Friday and Saturday, September 20th and 21st. Streaming live only on Hulu.
iHeartRadio, let's go!
Get tickets now at AXS.com.
It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. It is so good to be back after a week off. Get back into the swing of things, the traditions and benchmarks that we have on this show. Like each and every day, we name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is in over.
Your unhinged liberal of the day today is none other than white fragility author Robin DiAngelo. This is a late-breaking unhinged liberal, as it has just been discovered by the Washington Free Beacon that while DiAngelo tells her, quote, fellow white people they should, quote, always cite and give credit to the work of BIPOC, that's, I don't know, people of color. I don't know what the BI stands for. Black, indigenous, people of color, something like that. I'm not actually sure. Always cite and give credit to the work of BIPOC people who have informed your thinking. Guess where this is going? You got to always cite people of color. She plagiarized her doctoral thesis, including 2 minorities from several different people. She says, when you use a phrase or idea, when you get from a BIPOC person, credit them, she says. But according to a complaint filed last week with the University of Washington, where DiAngelo received her PhD in, of course, multicultural education, she hasn't always taken her own advice. The 2004 dissertation, Whiteness in Racial Dialogue, a Discourse Analysis, lifts 2 whole paragraphs from an Asian American professor, Northeastern University's Thomas Nakayama, without proper attribution, omitting quotation marks and in-text citations. DiAngelo also lifts materials from Stacy Lee, an Asian American professor of education at, where else? The University of Wisconsin-Madison. Robin DiAngelo, you're plagiarizing. Unhinged liberal of the day. Here's a question. Is there a single liberal PhD who is in public discourse, whether as the president of a university or a psychopathic writer about how terrible white people are, who has not plagiarized extensively? I apologize to Dave Spano. My excuse in getting to you late, Dave, is I'm rusty, I'm out of shape, but we've got NVIDIA, we have got earnings, we have got the BLS, which I think you could just shorten to BS jobs report after the 818,000 job downward revision all this week. It is going to be a big one.
It is going to be a big one. And yes, the BLS report for sure is out there, number one. We're going to get to some inflation numbers this week. And of course, that is going to go into the decision of what the Fed is going to do September 18th. And as you said, NVIDIA reports on Wednesday after the bell. It's a big deal. You know, they have put $10 billion into R&D, and of course it's starting to come out. You see the return on that stock has just been absolutely tremendous. But you know, there's a lot of job data out there, and we're going to have to watch this, Dan. You know, if it's 25 basis points or is it more? I mean, You're going to see a lot of chatter about 50 basis points over the next 30 days or so. But welcome back. Glad to have you back. And when we get to our podcast in about an hour or so, I want to talk about the $5 trillion of tax increases proposed. So, you know, the top 1% already pay 45.8% of federal income tax, but they're not paying their fair share.
No, they don't pay their fair share. They pay essentially everybody's share. We will discuss that and so much more, including the strange timing of the BLS downward revision, coming up on The Difference. It's our weekly podcast. I strongly encourage you to subscribe, to follow on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. It's the intersection of politics and economics. It's hosted by Dave Spano and me, and it's always enjoyable. It's always fun. We record it usually right after the show, the Dan O'Donnell Show on Monday. When we come back, the anti-democratic party and who's really driving the mass abandonment of it, of young men. It's an interesting dynamic, and we'll get into it next.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. A Waukesha man was taken into custody following a homicide and standoff last night after Waukesha police responded to reports of gunshots at a home near Douglas and Grand. The suspect admitted in a call to dispatchers that he shot and killed his grandmother and threatened to harm himself. When the suspect refused to leave the residence, the Waukesha Police Tactical Unit used chemical munitions and a canine unit to apprehend him. The investigation into the incident continues. Former President Donald Trump has scheduled a campaign stop in Wisconsin. The Republican presidential nominee will host a town hall in La Crosse Thursday. The Trump campaign says the event will have Trump outlining his agenda aimed at making America affordable again. He'll also listen to the concerns of Wisconsinites heading into the November election. Trump's La Crosse stop will follow a visit earlier in the day to Michigan, where he'll deliver remarks about the economy. Sirens sounded in Tel Aviv last night for the first time since January, as Hamas launched a single rocket towards central Israel. The Israel Defense Forces said the Hamas rocket fell into an open area south of Tel Aviv. No one was injured by the rocket. Hamas confirmed it did fire an M90 rocket at Tel Aviv. That action comes after Hamas turned down the latest ceasefire proposal in the war between Israel and Hamas. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard, the Brewers take today off before beginning a series with the San Francisco Giants tomorrow night at American Family Field. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. I've been a big proponent of Lynch for a while now. Here's why. They're literally a family dealership and have been since 1957. That's increasingly rare in the dealership world today, but the Lynch family employs 500 plus people who are all dedicated to taking care of you. They've got a wide selection of new and used vehicles, extended service department hours for early drop-offs and late pickups, and most importantly, they're proud supporters of our local communities and schools. They also stand behind what they sell with Lynch certified used vehicles, including a 168-point inspection to determine eligibility, an unparalleled 90-day or 3,000-mile certified guarantee, and a 10-day 500-mile exchange policy. And when you pair this with the Lynch Protected program, they cover your paint, your windshield, and your tires. It's easy to see why you should consider Lynch. Check them out today at shoplynch.com.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Heat advisories, excessive heat watches and warnings all across south central and southeastern Wisconsin. 94, feeling more like triple digits at times today with very high dew points. Please take it easy today. Partly cloudy, should be hot again tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Time with family, laughs with friends, and cash back. Discover's got you covered on the last one. That's because Discover doubles all the cash back you've earned on your credit card at the end of your first year with cash back match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
The Parker bedroom is Penny Mustard's most popular Louis Philippe inspired design.
Louis who?
He was the king of France. The Parker bedroom is a classic.
Solid wood construction, forever tight bed brackets,
and hidden storage compartments in every piece.
I love France.
Really?
Especially the fries.
Oh.
And the toast.
The Parker bedroom, starting at just $280 a month with only 1 penny down and no interest till September of 2027 through September 8th at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Hey Wisconsin, it's construction season and the Wisconsin DOT wants to help you safely navigate work zones in your area. Check 511wi.gov or download the free 511 app to see current road work, closures, detours, and camera views on your route. Wherever your travels take you, know before you go with 511wi.gov. That's 511wi.gov. And remember, know before you go. Always park the phone while driving. Sponsored by the Wisconsin DOT.
Well, that's why you have to check out our website. We're pretty proud of our before and after photos because they show off just how good we really are. I can confidently say that whatever you bring us, we're going to use every bit of magic we have to turn it into a one-of-a-kind work of art. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY, finishing.com. If it's worth restoring, we're going to tell you. If it's not worth the cost of restoring, then we're going to give you an honest answer. You don't stay in the furniture finishing business for nearly 50 years unless you're honest and talented. Luckily, we're both, and that means all of your expectations will be met. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Kickoff is almost here, and iHeart is the official home of the NFL Podcast Network, featuring podcasts like NFL Daily with Greg Rosenthal.
Packing it with so much goodness. Chock full of info.
And tons of fantasy football podcasts with expert advice for you to win your fantasy league. It's the best part of the season. Your team is undefeated and anything is possible. Take the iHeartRadio app and the NFL with you right in your pocket. Open the free iHeart app, search NFL, and start listening now.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
WISN listeners are wise, enlightened, engaged, and have impeccably good taste. Thank you for making us Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Something happened to me this morning that almost never happens. I had butterflies in my stomach before going on the air. I think I have explained how I feel. It's sort of, do you remember, I used to have this irrational fear when I was growing up that if I was sick for a day or two, and I think every kid kind of felt like that, when you go back to school, it felt like in your little kid mind, everything had changed, right? Everything was just different. And then you're sitting in class for a grand total of like 15 minutes, or you're waiting on the playground to go in before the opening bell of the school day, and you realize everything's the exact same. Is that just me, or seriously, is this a universal thing? It's not a universal thing, says producer Dave. You didn't feel like weird if, say, you missed a week of school or something for a vacation. You never felt weird coming back. Oh, because, well, I'm not saying you sat and watched The Price is Right and, you know, all the other great daytime shows. Okay, first day of school jitters, there is that. That's what, it sort of felt like that. It sort of felt like that. It almost felt like first day of school, oh, what's everything going to be like? And I, honest to goodness, felt that a little bit at about 8:45 this morning. Oh my gosh. Yes, because, yes, Dave says, was it because Ben and I set the standard so high? I'm worried one of these jokers is gunning for my job. I am. I'm sort of like the quarterback who's been injured, producer Dave says. It's sort of like, do you remember that movie Any Given Sunday, where the Dennis Quaid character gets injured, and then Steamin' Willie Beeman comes in, Jamie Foxx's character. And it's an underrated movie, totally underrated movie. Beyond a caricature of what NFL football is, so much so that the NFL, they actually, Oliver Stone wanted to partner with the NFL, and the NFL took a look at the script and it was like, nope, absolutely not. Right. That's why they have the Miami Sharks. They were supposed to be the Miami Dolphins. And in any event, it is great to be back. It is so incredible to be back. I feel bad that I missed the Democratic National Convention, but it wasn't exactly that memorable. I defy any of you, and I know there are a ton of libs listening right now. Name one line without looking it up from Kamala Harris's speech. Just one. Yeah, exactly. Do you want to know the biggest difference between the Republican National Convention and the Democratic National Convention? When awarding Wisconsin's delegates, our guy didn't make a complete ass of himself.
I'm here because I'm jazzed as hell to announce that Wisconsin passed one vote present and 94 votes who were we at? Got me going here. Former Wisconsinite, former state, oh my God. We love you, Jody! We love you, Jody! 94 votes for. I'll get there, Jason, I'll get there. 94 votes for former Wisconsinite, Vice President, and our next President of the United States of America, Kamala Harris.
That was beyond painful. My biggest regret is that I was not on the air when Tony Evers became an international laughingstock by announcing the delegates for Kamala Harris. The biggest question everyone had, was he drunk? And I said, no, this is just him. He is Wisconsin's Joe Biden and has been since the moment he was elected. Everybody has been wondering who's actually running Wisconsin because it's clearly not this buffoon. I loved how they turned the awarding of delegates into like a dance party. They had Lil Jon for the Georgia delegation announcement. But to quote the Jump Around song that was playing in the background, maybe it's time for Tony Evers to pack it up, pack it in. Let me begin. Keeping this moron in office really is a sin. Now, I want you to compare that. This is the leadership of the Democratic Party. Now, compare that with how the Wisconsin Republican delegation announcement was made by Brian Schimming, state party chair.
Madam Secretary, on behalf of the Wisconsin delegation, we welcome everyone here to this 23rd Psalm place we call home, where 170 years ago, this great party was founded down the road in Ripon, Wisconsin, in a little white schoolhouse. Madam Secretary, the great state of Wisconsin proudly casts all of its 41 votes for Donald J. Trump.
Now, Brian did have the advantage of doing that on Monday afternoon, well before happy hour. Honestly, could the contrast between parties be any clearer? This is the governor of the state. All you have to do is say, Mr. Secretary, Wisconsin pledges its delegates to former Wisconsinite, current vice president, and the next president of the United States, Kamala Harris. Well, I know he tried to be cutesy, but he had no idea where he was. And did you hear Ben Wickler, the chairman of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, the man who always looks like he just belched, looking like he just belched while announcing, "We love you, Tony!" He was trying to save him so badly, was Ben Wickler, the man who always looks like he just belched, that he threw Tony even further off track. That was my biggest takeaway, that we have an utter incompetent buffoon as a governor. And now, at least, the entire world can see it. If you would like to join the Dan O'Donnell Show, our phone lines are always open, 414-799-1130. That's our AdventNews.com talk and text line. Reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, DOD@iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, where, as always, you can watch the show streaming live via the Dan O'Cam, also on our YouTube channel. And we do ask you very humbly humbly to subscribe to the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast on your iHeartRadio app or wherever you listen to podcasts. Biggest news of the week politically was not, believe it or not, the DNC. And while it wasn't quite as earth-shaking as President Biden dropping out in a statement that really didn't seem like it was written by Joe Biden. I love how it was Sunday afternoon, and I called it. I am going to my grave saying I called the exact time of day, the exact day and the exact time of day that Democrats would make this announcement. It was going to be the Sunday after the Republican convention, and it was going to be sometime midday after the Sunday morning shows had all been off the air, because a lot of those interviews that the Sunday morning shows do are pre-taped, and it would sound weird if, and they also wanted to dominate the news cycle for the next day. Another big reason, I think they timed it during Biden's midday nap. So they released this statement. He wakes up like 2 hours later, like, oh, crap. I wrote what? Sure enough, that changed the course of this race. On Friday, Republicans did their level best at muting the impact of the Democrat convention by partnering with RFK. It was first teased by Nicole Shanahan, RFK Jr.'s running mate, on Monday or Tuesday, that they were looking at either dropping out and endorsing Trump or staying in, but they didn't want to play spoiler. And that's what RFK said in his speech alongside Trump in Arizona on Friday, that, look, we are going to get off the ballot in the 10 competitive states because we know we're playing spoiler. It was beyond clear after Biden dropped out of the race, and only after Biden dropped out of the race, that Kennedy's presence was hurting Trump more than Kamala Harris, because you had this phenomenon with Joe Biden of the double hater, people who hated both Trump and Biden. Disaffected Democrats mainly, who realized what a disaster Biden was. There was also the bandwagon effect that was taking shape. Donald Trump was very obviously running away with the election. Why do you think Democrats were getting increasingly desperate to get Biden off the ticket? Because they knew Trump was going to win. A big part of that is what I say is a really, really underestimated thing in political races, and that's the bandwagon effect. People tend to vote for who they think is going to win, not people like you or I who have defined political philosophies or even really think about this stuff. But there are a rather sad number of people who treat the presidential race, and who treat any race really, like the race for class president, okay? It is, you vote for the candidate who promises to bring beer to the class reunions. Those voters were more likely to be pulled from the Biden pool of soft support. When Biden dropped out, Democrats immediately fell in line because there was a huge bandwagon effect, and there was what I've been calling the sugar rush of them saying, hey, we might not actually get our butts kicked by Donald Trump. It's no longer an inevitability that Democrats lose, and Democrats lose the Senate, the House, state legislative races, gubernatorial races. It was just going to be a disaster for them. When that happened, you still have a portion of Republicans, or at least typical Republican voters, who can't stand Trump. Whether it's his personality, whether it's the mean tweets, which, by the way, did you see yesterday? The day I have been waiting for since January 2021, the triumphant return of one DJT. Donald Trump himself to Twitter. Now, the account at Real Donald Trump had been posting for almost a year now, actually. Remember, almost a year ago today, when Trump's mugshot was released, the official Trump campaign or Trump Twitter account came back. And it just posted. That was its only post for a year. And then it started posting stuff that was clearly from the campaign. Yesterday, that was all Don. That was Don sitting on his phone, posting on X. And let me tell you, friend, it is a glorious day. We are back. I want you all to spread the word that we back up. Trump is back on X. So there are people who don't like him for that or other superfluous reasons, and they are going to look for a third-party candidate. That candidate was RFK. Now, Kennedy is about as traditional a Democrat as it gets. He is an environmentalist. He's probably the best known environmentalist in the United States of America, and has been for a long, long time. But he has also noticed something about his Democratic Party. It's grown increasingly autocratic, especially on COVID-19. He's always been a quote-unquote anti-vaxxer, but he more fully fleshed out his thinking regarding the utter corruption of the medical industry and its connection to chasing billions and billions and billions of government-mandated vaccine dollars with COVID. That got him a whole lot of alternative, conservative, or new right support. He was also strong on the border, but that was pretty much it. His endorsement of Donald Trump essentially matters because, yes, it takes voters around the margins. And to say this is anything but good news for Donald Trump is to deny the obvious. I think it is also very telling. And obviously, polls were in the field during the Democratic National Convention. Did you notice something that did not happen yesterday? Almost invariably in presidential election years, each one of the major networks will release a new poll in conjunction with its Sunday morning show. So it'll say, well, after the Republican convention, Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. There was not a single poll released yesterday. I found that to be incredibly weird. You have polls released pretty much every single week. It suggests to me that the Democrat bounce during the convention was not nearly as big as they were hoping for. And in fact, after the Democrat sugar rush, polling has sort of regressed to the mean, and this is probably a 1 or 2 point race, which probably still favors Trump. Kennedy might deliver 0.5% of the vote, maybe 1.5% in each of the swing states for Trump. That's massive because these races are going to be decided by 2, 3. In Wisconsin, we were decided by 0.7%. In Arizona and Georgia, it was even tighter. This is a big deal. This is also why Democrats are fighting so heavily. They are fighting so aggressively to keep the Green Party off the ballot because they understand that if these disaffected libs don't have anywhere to go, they'll vote for Kamala. If the Democrats were confident that it wasn't going, if Kamala really was up 6 or 7 points, as some of the Wisconsin polls suggest, what would it matter if the Green Party was? They understand how close this race actually is. But what this signals to me on an even deeper level is how Republicans have essentially claimed the ideological middle that had for generations belonged to, at least in the eyes of the media and much of the public, the Democrats. J.D. Vance was on Meet the Press yesterday and asked about Kennedy's endorsement and basically summed this up very eloquently.
Do you have any hesitation about accepting his endorsement?
No, Kristen, I don't, because we're going to disagree on issues, right? There are things that Robert Kennedy has said that I disagree with. I'm sure there are things that he said, or that I've said, that he's going to disagree with. But I think what his endorsement represents is that Donald J. Trump's Republican Party is a big tent party. I was raised by 2 grandparents who are sort of classic blue dog Democrats. They believed in having a border. They believed that, you shouldn't have censorship in the United States of America. They believed in common sense economic policies. They may have disagreed with Donald Trump about tax policy, but they believed in some fundamental American values. And I think what RFK's endorsement really shows is that the Kennedy Democrats are actually more at home in the Republican Party of Donald Trump. And unfortunately, Kamala Harris's party, higher prices, doing nothing to fight back against the Chinese, to say nothing of a wide open border, that is not JFK's Democratic Party. It's not RFK's Democratic Party. We're thrilled to have the Kennedy Democrats where they belong.
And the Kennedy Democrats have long ago, I think, abandoned the Democrat Party for Republicans. But what Kennedy represented, I think, was the few remaining holdouts. The ones who, during the Vietnam era, were saying, don't trust anyone under 30 or over 30, I should say. They were the ones who were saying, don't trust the FBI, don't trust the man, don't trust big corporations. All of that sentiment has essentially moved. Don't trust the man, right? Well, who is the man now? Which party represents the establishment of American culture? It's very clearly the Democrats. It's very clearly the woke left. And unlike the Democrats of yesteryear, the George McGovern wing of the party, the live and let live, it's now do as we say. There's no room for dissent. There is no room for anyone who says something that you even disagree with. Whatever happened to Voltaire? I may disagree with you, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. Now you got the modern left, and just look at what's going on in the United Kingdom. I was, honest to goodness, scared to post anything on X while I was in the UK, lest new Prime Minister Keir Starmer's secret police come have me arrested and charged with inciting a riot for a meme I posted on social media. Obviously, in America, well, just ask Baked Alaska, who went to prison for posting memes. Baked Alaska. He was the guy who said Democrats vote Wednesday. Remember that one? In 2020, and he was actually criminally charged with election interference. It was a gross violation of First Amendment rights. Democrats no longer believe in the First Amendment. Just listen to them talk. Hate speech is not protected. And what is hate speech? Speech that we define as something that's offensive, i.e., speech we disagree with. Well, that's the speech that the First Amendment was designed to protect. Speech that's controversial. Speech that's, what I always say is, you don't need the First Amendment for the statement, I like puppies. Okay? It's not, you need a First Amendment for something that people might find offensive. Democrats no longer believe in that. They no longer believe in dissent. They no longer believe in democracy. And Kennedy has noticed. You know who else has noticed? Young men. Democrats have a very real problem with a big demographic of voters, and we will dive into that next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Get ready to win your way to our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, and $1,000.
T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas, September 20th and 21st.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
Buy tickets now at AXS.com.
The human soul requires a minimum daily requirement of entertainment. Welcome to MGM Rewards. With the greatest live shows on earth, they have all the entertainment you can handle and more. Book now and make the most of your Vegas getaway at MGMRewards.com.
Dan here for CertaPro Painters, which provides excellent workmanship, quality, and a worry-free painting process for both residential and commercial spaces, all at the right price. You can trust them to get the job done right and done safely. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, pro.com. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
In 1926, Sendix started by selling quality produce. Now, 98 years later, Sendix is proud to offer the newly renovated Sendix store in Mequon. Start with fresh squeezed juice, a smoothie or gourmet coffee. Enjoy fresh popcorn or cotton candy, or a sandwich from the made-to-order sandwich bar. And don't miss the fresh produce grown right in the store. After all, what else would you expect from Sendix? See you soon at Sendix in Mequon, your trusted local grocer.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
Who do you support?
We support the right. And the left.
What?
The front and back, too.
I don't understand.
No matter which side you sleep on, we support you. And right now, we're providing extra support.
How's that?
Purchase a new Sealy Posturepedic, Beauty Rest, or Certa Perfect Sleeper through Monday and get a strong, supportive box spring free. Plus, free next day delivery.
Well, you got my vote.
Find a self-service, employee-free showroom near you at Hasselus.com.
You hear more and more about identity theft in the news every day. That's because so much of your personal info is out of your control, like your insurance provider that has your social security number and your favorite retailer that has your payment details. If they get breached, your information's vulnerable. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code PLAY at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Zero Foxtrot isn't just a brand, it's a way of life. Founded and operated by veterans, Zero Foxtrot's unique apparel and gear echoes the grit of the warrior culture. Zero Foxtrot dedicates itself to producing content, honoring the sacrifices of forgotten heroes of the past, and connecting history to the present. Embark on a journey with Zero Foxtrot today at ZeroFoxtrot.com. It's not merely our products, it's about the ethos that we embody. Rugged, resilient, and timeless.
Classical conservatism. Contemporary style. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
think it's much of a secret that Democrats have a big problem with young men aged 18 to 29 who have migrated to the Republican Party en masse in recent election cycles. This article from The Hill, from the Trump-Clinton race to 2023, the percentage of these voters that identify or lean Democrat has plummeted from 51% to 39%. Kamala Harris's ascension to the presidential ticket hasn't reversed this trend either. Between July and August 2024, young women in battleground states swung 28 points toward her, but young men moved by only 2 points. In fact, do you know there is only one demographic, when you break it down by men and women, that votes for Democrats now? Nope. Married men vote Republican 59% to 39%. This is according to a Wall Street Journal poll. 18,571 total respondents. So it's not entirely scientific, but it's a good broad representation. Married men, 59% to 39% vote Republican. Unmarried men, 52% to 45% Republican. Here's where things get super interesting. Married women, 56% Republican, 42% Democrat. How exactly are Democrats ever competitive? They're losing by landslide margins when it comes to the separation of votes between the parties. You would expect it would be something closer to 50-50. Republicans are winning married men, unmarried men, and married women. Unmarried women vote Democrat 68% to 31%. In fact, the single biggest determinant of how a woman will vote, and please do not misunderstand me, I'm not trying to boil down or simplify the nuances of how women vote or how women vote on political issues. But the single biggest determinant, in fact, if I am looking at a random woman from a random place, if you tell me nothing more than whether she's married or single, probably with 90% accuracy, I can tell you how she votes. Number one determinant of how a woman will vote is her marital status, whether or not she's married. This is kind of stunning. Do you know why? In large measure? What is the most important issue in swing states for suburban, primarily single women? Abortion. 39% suburban women in swing states say abortion is their most important issue. Immigration second at just 16%. Just 7% say the economy, which is bizarre because you would think out of anybody, suburban women are the most likely to be buying groceries and clearly would understand how terrible the economy is. Here's something else that's worth pointing out. We've discussed this before. Pew Research data in 2020 asked, has a doctor or healthcare provider ever, at any point in your life, told you you have a mental health condition? Guess what group is infinitely more likely than every other to say they have had a mental health condition? Liberal women aged 18 to 29. It is stunning. More than half of liberal women under the age of 30 have been told they have some sort of mental health condition. Now, am I suggesting that this is why they vote Democrat? No, but it is very interesting. This election is actually shaping up to have the single biggest gender divide in American history, in that men are voting one way, women are voting another. The biggest story, though, is how much, and I think you can't ignore the rise of the woke left in first the Me Too movement of 2017 and then the ascendancy of Black Lives Matter following. You can actually see on line graphs that I'm looking at right now where exactly women got more radicalized. It's actually stunning. This is from the Pew data, and I'm going to have to, I'm going to retweet this actually. The data is actually stunning. You can see in 2012, there was pretty much an even split. Women preferred Democrats by a small majority. It's like 52, 53%. Okay, fine. What happened immediately after 2012? Black Lives Matter, social justice, Trayvon Martin. By 2014, you had Hands Up, Don't Shoot. They were starting to get radicalized. You can see by 2016, when Hillary Clinton really played the gender card and Donald Trump was this awful misogynist, you saw it spike. You saw it drop a little by 2018, and then the most dramatic spike from 2020 to now. It's all social justice warriorism. It is all the rise of the radicalized socialist left that, for whatever reason, appears to be led by younger, liberal, typically, weirdly enough, white women. There is a huge gender divide. What was the old book? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Well, it turns out Mars is look at it. Mars, the red planet. Hey, it just makes sense. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Men, Republican, young women, and young women only. This is the thing. And this is why it was I think women took it so personally, liberal women, when Vance called them, childless cat ladies. Inelegant to be sure, but what he was talking about was this phenomenon. What I would have called them was the liberal wine ant contingent. And everybody in the world, even if you don't think you have a liberal wine ant, I guarantee you have a liberal wine ant who at some point in her life has had way too much wine and has argued with your dad about politics. It's inevitable. The liberal wine ant. That's what I would have said instead of childless cat ladies. Dan O'Donnell Show, coming right back.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Kino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Hey, you smell. That's right, you still smell that urine in your house. Urine odor isn't just offensive to the nose, it's a health hazard. The other thing that stinks? Nothing works. Until now. At Steam Dry Carpet Cleaning, we save our customers thousands in carpet replacement, and if it's not all gone, you don't pay.
Call 414-479-9999. Steam Dry. PhDandClean.com. Steam Dry.
The little one just took her first steps. Her stride? Wobbly.
Oh my gosh, she's doing
Her parents? Oh boy, here we go.
Oh, watch out.
But you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with free credit score for Choice and Platinum Choice checking customers. So while you're monitoring and protecting her every move, you can do the same for your credit score too. You've got this with free credit score from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Mike Madsen, owner of Color Wheel Painting, and today I've got some fun new announcements. First, after years of confusing you with our website name being remodelandpaint.com, we finally own colorwheelpainting.com. It may sound silly, but I've been waiting 20 years for this domain name squatter to let it go. As they say, patience is a virtue. Second, with ColorWheelPainting.com comes a whole new ColorWheelPainting.com website. You'll love it. It's easier to navigate, offers great photo galleries, a wealth of information, and I invite you to check it out. Third, the grade most painters go through twice. We've opened a wallpaper installation division. Headed by Sherry on our staff, we're now offering our top-notch customer service, communication, honesty, and value-driven pricing to install wallpaper and murals for you. Color Wheel Painting. We just keep getting better. ColorWheelPainting.com.
This is Brad Youngbooth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. We have two big humps in this business, right before summer and right after fall. And for us, that's when the lines are the longest. Folks usually choose to do their exterior work during those times, and what I'm trying to do here with this message is level out the flow of business so that we don't have to disappoint anyone come November and December because they were hoping to get their work done before the snow flies. I understand where the focus is during summer, but you know what? It really is a great time to get signed up for your exterior work, like siding and windows, because that's when the lines are the shortest, and it's the one time that we're pretty sure we're not going to get any snow. So if you're looking to get your work done, why put it off? The lines are shorter and we'll be ready. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, call Semper Fi, because you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
The preseason is over, and the real thing is just beginning. It's football season once again, and that means it's time to cash in over at Prize Picks. Hey, I'm Benjamin Yount, and we've been talking about playing daily fantasy sports at Prize Picks for a while now. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy app with over 5 million active users. If you want to become a member, all you have to do is download the Prize Picks app, then enter my code Radio11 and start making your picks. You can get 100 times your money. That means $10 can become $1,000 just by picking more or less. That's all you're doing, picking between 2 and 6 players and more or less on any number of stats like rushing yards, touchdowns, passing, even total yards. And if you sign up today, you'll get a $50 bonus just for playing $5. You don't even have to win. Just playing 5 gets you 50. Download the app and use my code Radio11. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Breathing triangle problems negatively affect your sleep, making it hard to be at your best. Balloon sinuplasty can help solve these problems so you can breathe well, sleep well, and live better.
Everything must go while supplies last. Take advantage of huge discounts during our end of summer clearance. Thielman Group, Southeast Wisconsin's premier heating and cooling dealer, has 3 warehouses full of equipment that needs to be sold to make room. Whether you're in West Bend, Oconomowoc, Racine, or anywhere in between, we've got you covered. This offer is while supplies last, so when they're gone, they're gone. Call us today at 262-288-4654 or visit our website at thielmangroup.com. That's Thielman with 2 N's group.com.
Get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at ACCUNET.com.
Use it in good health, my brothers and sisters. Because they don't need to be childless cat ladies, right? They can have kids, they can have husbands, but they invariably have a lot of wine. And at family Thanksgiving, tell you exactly what Donald Trump is really all about. He's hateful. He hates women. And you do too if you vote for him. Gavin Newsom, governor of California, and long believed to be the Democrats' real choice to replace Joe Biden, not Kamala Harris, was on Pod Save America with a whole bunch of Obama boys. And, well, he had some interesting thoughts about the process by which Kamala became the Dems nominee.
How are you feeling about the switch?
I mean, the switch. Now, we went through a very open process, and a very inclusive process. It was bottom up. I don't know if you know that. Yes, that's what I've been told to say.
Yes, it was a blitz primary, I believe is what they called it.
It's a very, very fast blitz.
I think it was
a blink primary, so we call that.
A 30-minute convention. Between a tweet and another tweet.
It's amazing how it happened.
Yeah, it's been amazing. But what is amazing is how unified everybody is. I mean, it's next level.
It's next level because they were told to unify or else. I got to give credit where credit is due. Newsom got off a really good line. He said, what was it? A half-hour primary from one tweet, Biden announcing that he was stepping down from the race, to another tweet, Biden announcing that he was endorsing Kamala Harris, which was the signal, okay, it's Kamala. Within, what would you say, producer Dave? We were all on the air that afternoon. It had to have been 3 hours. Every single state party chair had endorsed her. I would say by the following morning, the Associated Press had a whip count out that showed she had the requisite number of delegates to become the Democratic nominee. Believe it or not, the Democrats actually voted online. All of the delegates voted online. The awarding of delegates that Tony Evers hilariously botched was not actually binding. They had already done that, fittingly enough, in secret. And Newsom and the Pod Bros are all joking about it while simultaneously saying that it's Trump who is a threat to democracy. Today is a very somber anniversary, and it kind of made it a little more personal, having spent the past week in Normandy. And folks, if you ever get a chance, one of the most emotional places is the American Cemetery on Omaha Beach. It is beautiful. It is somber. It is an incredible monument to the sacrifice of the young men who gave their lives defending the world from the forces of evil. And I'll tell you what, if you don't tear up at the flag retirement ceremony while Taps is played, man, I question your Americanism, because it not only made me sad for all the young men who gave their lives on D-Day and D-Day +1 and so forth, but also it made me proud to be an American, to be the country that liberated the world, along with all of its allies, of course, but led the world in protecting freedom and everything. Today marks 3 years from the terrorist bomb that killed 13 American service members and many more innocent Afghans at Abbey Gate at the Kabul airport. It should also be noted that not only was this one of the most humiliating days for the United States in history, that Kamala Harris was openly bragging at the time, in the days leading up to that terrorist blast and the disastrous, shambolic retreat from Afghanistan, that she was the last one in the room with Biden and was the one who told him, yes, we need to withdraw, and this is how we're going to withdraw. Here she is when she used to do interviews with Dana Bash, August of 2021.
You just made a really big decision. Afghanistan.
Yes.
Were you the last person in the room?
Yes.
And you feel comfortable?
I do. And I'm going to add to that. This is a president who has an extraordinary amount of courage.
In other words, Kamala had the key role in the moment that didn't just humiliate the United States, condemn Afghan women to a lifetime of indentured servitude and oppression, but also that essentially ended Biden's presidency. You can actually see on a line graph of Biden's job approval and the exact moment that it crisscrossed. When unfavorable started to top favorable, it was at the Abbey Gate explosion, and he has not recovered since. The honeymoon was well and truly over. It is also coincidental that today, or technically yesterday, I guess, it was announced that the two astronauts that were stranded at the International Space Station because the Boeing spaceship couldn't bring them home. You know who's bringing them back home, by the way? Elon Musk in a SpaceX vehicle. It was announced that that's not going to happen until February of 2025. Do you know who just happens to chair the National Space Council? That's right, Kamala Harris. Also the borders are, also the last woman in the room with Joe Biden to decide on the withdrawal from Afghanistan. There is literally nothing that she has touched in her term as vice president that hasn't turned to you-know-what. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Conservative thought, not just talk.
Local animals need your help. And right now, every dollar you give to the Wisconsin Humane Society will be matched by a generous group of donors, up to $200,000. The shelters are caring for hundreds of cats and dogs who desperately need you. To make a gift, simply go to wihumane.org/summermatch. It's critical to send your gift now to double your impact for animals. Visit wihumane.org/summermatch to have your donation matched for pets in need.
In 1926, Sendix started by selling quality produce. Now, 98 years later, Sendix is proud to offer the newly renovated Sendix store in Mequon. Start with fresh squeezed juice, a smoothie or gourmet coffee. Enjoy fresh popcorn or cotton candy, or a sandwich from the made-to-order sandwich bar. And don't miss the fresh produce grown right in the store. After all, what else would you expect from Sendix? See you soon at Sendix in Mequon, your trusted local grocer.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. I frequently speak with people who are unhappy with their landscaping and they're unsure how to turn things around. Well, here are 4 tasks that will make a remarkable improvement to dull landscaping. Number 1, thick, lush green grass. We need food and water to be healthy. Our lawn care programs and irrigation systems provide your grass with everything it needs to thrive. Number 2, pruning. Regular, technically correct pruning keeps plants strong and vibrant. Number 3, plant bed edging and a fresh layer of bark mulch. There's nothing better than the look of crisp bed edges and fresh mulch. Number 4, landscape lighting. You finally have your landscaping looking its best. A landscape lighting system lets your landscaping come alive after dark. So there you are, 4 landscaping tips that amplify the beauty of your home. Please call Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Gorgeous new roofs, showstopper siding, or classic brick and stonework. How about modern windows and regal doors that'll make your chin hit the floor? To a lot of people, having these things can really make them enjoy where they live. It makes them proud. But there's always one thing standing in the way. How do I make that happen? At Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, we have excellent financing options for most people in most situations. 12 months, no interest, no payments, and exceptional rates for long-term loans that will beat your bank with no additional fees or hidden costs. You can go to SemperFiRoofing.com to apply for your pre-approval today. We want to make any project affordable to almost any person, and we've gone out of our way to find partners that can help make it happen for you. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Ask about our finance options.
Well, summer's here and the weather is beautiful. Everyone has a favorite outdoor activity: golf, bike riding, bird watching, long walks. Ask 100 people, you'll get 100 answers. But if everyday aches and pains are keeping you on the sidelines, I have one answer: Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, in 3 weeks or less, you'll start to feel the difference all day, every day. So whatever you like to do, swimming, pickleball, hanging out in the garden, Relief Factor can help you feel good again and let you enjoy all your favorite outdoor activities all summer long. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
It's the Marketer's Report. Today, Capital One's Chief Brand Officer, Mark Mentry, weighs in on building loyalty with customers.
Capital One has really worked to create amazing access moments for our customers. We will do sound check parties so that only Capital One cardholders can get access to, and we can't pull that off without iHeart.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, insights, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
Do you have children under the age of 18? Have more than $50,000 in assets? Without a proper estate plan, the government will create one for you. Learn more on Your Hometown Lawyer from Milik Law, Saturday at 3 on WISN. Visit MilikLawWI.com. And remember, fail to plan, plan to fail.
Don't think twice. Call Geist. Need a new garage door? Do it right. Don't think twice. Call Geist.
For all your garage door needs, don't think twice. Call Geist or visit their online showroom at GeistStores.com.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Conservative thought, not just talk. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, a tour de force of truth. The sort of truth the rest of the media used to report, but now actively buries, it seems. We are just back from the site of the Tour de France. Took a group of listeners via Cruise and Tour, our great friends and incredible travel partners, to London, then Normandy, then Paris. It was an incredible look at the Operation Overlord D-Day invasion just a couple of months after the landing on Omaha, Utah, Sword, Juneau, and I'm forgetting the last beach, but nonetheless, we were also there. Yesterday actually was the 80th anniversary of the liberation of France. Unfortunately, we had to get on an airplane right away to get home, or the liberation of Paris, I should say, liberation of Paris. But that was basically the end of the Nazi occupation, the Vichy government, and so forth. And it was just an incredible time on Facebook, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. I have got a great picture of all of our listeners. There were about 70 some, my family included. We were at the Eiffel Tower. We actually had dinner inside the Eiffel Tower on Saturday night for our farewell dinner. Just an amazing trip, start to finish. When we were in London, we took the kids. Yes, for those asking, I did take my daughter to Taylor Swift at Wembley Stadium. We were about 3 rows from the back. Yes, we were. We went. We had to. Tickets were surprisingly affordable, Dave. Not like here in the United States. You could actually get secondhand tickets. She did like 6 shows, and we were there for the Saturday night one. And then my son's birthday present, we went to go see the Chelsea-Manchester City soccer match at Stamford Bridge Stadium, and we actually got incredibly good tickets, and the price sort of reflected that. What's that? Yeah, producer Dave says, yeah, but last weekend I think I was eating Portillo's for dinner. No, it really was just a great trip. We again thank Cruise and Tour. And I say this, check out the photo of our group from the Eiffel Tower, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. If you were on the trip, please do use that to post some of your own pictures. We'll have like a Google Drive or something where people can upload pictures of the group. I am continually amazed at just how nice, how friendly, how warm, and what great travelers our listeners are. And we will be announcing the 2025 Dan O'Donnell Show cruise coming up in the next couple of weeks. I sincerely hope that you will consider being a part of it. Can I narrow down the timeline? That one is going to be mid-June of 2025. It's going to be, I believe, June 15th through the 26th, somewhere in that. No, we're not going to Beloit. It's going to be incredible, and it's going to be a place where basically next year is going to be the last time traditional cruise ships are going to be allowed to cruise it. It's a cruise. Yes, this one is a cruise. We may be working on a land adventure as well. What, Dave, do you want to sign up? Can you? Maybe. We'll see. But basically, I just want to thank everybody who went on the trip. We really do. And that's the thing about group travel, especially with Cruise and Tour. They do all the planning for you, and that's great. That's awesome. Our historians, Marty and Rick, were fantastic, incredibly knowledgeable. Marty, in fact, was a consultant on the Call of Duty World War II video game. So my 14-year-old, of course, immediately bonded with him. But the great part about group travel, especially through Cruise and Tour and our listener trips, is that we really do make a whole lot of friends. And I'm so glad that I have got about 70 new friends from that trip. Dan O'Donnell Show Monday edition done. We're back Tuesday morning. That's tomorrow, 9:06. Talk to you then.